These are my very favorite earrings and the ones that I get complimented on the absolute most. And I actually made these about 3 or 4 years ago from some kind of unusual supplies. And they have held up surprisingly well for what they're made out of, but I've been wearing them pretty consistently for about 3 years now, and they're starting to show the first signs of being a bit dingy, and I want to make another pair, and I thought it'd be fun to show you how I made them so that you can make a pair if you want to too. Now the keen observer might already have an idea on what they're made out of. I found these little mini ornaments and they are the perfect size for earrings. And the ones that I wear have been painted with just bright, fun watercolors, but if you know anything about watercolor, it does not stick to plastic surfaces, so we need something to make it so that it does stick. And that's where watercolor ground comes into play. And if your Christmas ornament is really shiny, we do want to make sure that this is actually going to stick to it. So it's probably a good idea to grab some sandpaper and just scuff up the surface a little bit so that it's got something to actually grab onto. And then we just want to grab a brush, maybe one you don't care about so much, and we're just going to apply a nice even layer to the Christmas ornament. Watercolor ground is a medium that you can place on any surface, and once this medium dries, it turns into a paper-like product so that you can actually paint watercolor on it. And that is time for my least favorite part of any crafting project, and that is waiting for things to dry. So before you start painting it, you might want to make sure that you have a place ready to go where you can hang it undisturbed for about 24 hours. It's officially been 24 hours since I put my last coat of the watercolor ground onto my ornament. And I did have to go in and do 2 coats. Sometimes the first coat does not stick super well and it leaves it a little bit splotchy, but once it is dry, then it's time to do a little bit of cleanup. If you applied yours in a very nice, smooth manner, you don't need to do this, but mine have some real rough and almost sharp areas, so I am going to take some sandpaper and just clean these up. And then once I've cleaned that up, it's time to just take my watercolor and paint on it. You could really do any sort of design you want on this. You could paint something actually on this. I tend to just like to go for nice bright colors and brush strokes, just something a little abstract that's going to give me a nice pop of color. And then after you paint it, you just have to attach your jewelry hardware. And now I have a fresh new pair of brightly colored bauble earrings. And you can use watercolor ground for anything. You don't just have to make earrings, although you could, but you could also just do this for Christmas ornaments. You could paint it onto canvases or really anything that you can think of.